If you try to harm New Yorkers or roll back their rights, I will fight you every step of the way.
You come for my people, you come through me.
Yeah. Democrat governors Kathy Hochul and J.B. Pritzker already vowing to fight Trump's agenda on day one of his return to the Oval Office, even though he won both the Electoral College and the popular vote. And he lost Deep Blue New York, by the way, by just 11 points. He lost Deep Blue Illinois by just 9 points. New Jersey, 5 points. Hochul and Pritzker among a handful of blue state governors warning the Trump administration that they will be sued if they attempt to undermine their state's liberal policies, despite Trump's agenda resonating with many voters in those Democrat-led states. Joining me now is Trump-Vance transition spokesperson Karoline Leavitt. Caroline, thanks for being here. Your reaction to those Democrat governors?
Well, it's amazing that these Democrat governors continue to be so out of touch with their own voters. They should open their eyes and look at how the American people voted in this election. They have given President Trump a resounding mandate to deliver on the promises that he made on the campaign trail. If you look at some of the bluest states in this country, New York and California, for example, those were some of the states with the largest shifts towards President Trump. If you look at liberal California, there was a 12-point shift towards President Trump. You look at the L.A. district attorney who was fired by a more independent thinking person. If you look at the liberal mayor of San Francisco, he was fired. The American people are done with these far progressive policies. They want common sense. And that's what President Trump has campaigned on.
Caroline, we've been talking all morning about how President Trump will execute his promises. Has President Trump decided on who he is supporting for the leader of the Senate? We had Rick Scott on earlier. Will he get behind Rick Scott?
President Trump hasn't made an announcement on that race yet, Maria. I won't get ahead of him, but it certainly is great news that we have a Republican majority in the Senate who will help President Trump deliver on his legislative priorities, such as delivering critical tax relief for the American people and securing our southern border. So I'll let him weigh in on the race, but it's great news that we have the majority, no doubt.
Okay. I'm going to take a short break, and then I want to come back to you and ask you specifically what President Trump is working on now. I know the wheels are turning on executive orders as we speak. More with Trump-Vance transition spokesperson Karoline Leavitt next on Sunday Morning Futures. Welcome back. I am back with Trump-Vance transition spokeswoman Karoline Leavitt. Caroline, what can you tell us about what President Trump is doing now, readying himself for January 20th, Inauguration Day?
Well, transition is certainly underway, Maria. President Trump has put together a great team led by Howard Lutnick and Linda McMahon. And there are tens of lawyers and policy experts on this team as well, who are not only looking at personnel to fill President Trump's cabinet, and ultimately those decisions will be made and announced by him, but also looking at policy, drafting executive orders and potential legislation that President Trump can sign into law on day one. We know that he promised to sign an executive order to secure the southern border, something the Harris Biden administration has refused to do. We know that on day one, he's going to launch the largest mass deportation operation of illegal immigrants in American history. He can also, via executive power, restore the very effective Remain in Mexico policy to deter illegal immigration. And then when it comes to drilling and fracking, he promised to sign an executive order on day one to expedite permitting for fracking and drilling to make America energy dominant again and tackle the inflation crisis caused by the incumbent administration. And then legislative priorities, cutting taxes for the American people, cutting taxes on tips for hardworking Americans, on Social Security for our seniors. These are things that can be done through Congress. And so the transition team will be working with members on Capitol Hill to get that legislation drafted so President Trump can sign it into law immediately and make real changes for the American people. What I can tell you is this man is already working around the clock, looking ahead to January 2025. And we know the work ethic of President Trump that paid off in the campaign trail will bring him right back to the White House, where he will get things done on day one for the American people.
How many executive orders should we expect in week one?
Well, there will be tens of them, I can assure you of that. And there will be a reversal of all of the executive orders that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris signed to reverse the effective policies of the first Trump administration. We know Joe Biden signed 94 executive orders on his first week on the job, all of them leading to the border crisis and the economic crisis that has been hurting the American people over the last 4 years. And that's why President Trump was reelected, to reverse the reversal of the Harris-Biden administration's policies.
Well, I thought it was extraordinary to see that Kamala Harris blew blew through $1 billion, and now they are still in debt by $20 million. Caroline, we'll be watching all of that. Thank you so much. Trump Vance transition spokeswoman Caroline
Maria.
Levitt, thank you for being here.